which may be the type of people that are joining these cults. They're questioning things in their life.
Yeah.
Our brains are naturally attracted to certainty and authority. And we can talk about, authority is what we really probably should talk about, but we're attracted to that. And our brains, the mammalian part of our brain, will simply follow somebody that is easily followed. Like, what is the clearest signal? It's not the smartest person in the room, not the best idea. What's the clearest signal that's pointing in a direction that I can follow? And our brains will just default to, once we trust that authority figure, we're automatically going to assign good traits to them. We're going to think that they're a good person. We're a good person because we're aligning with this person just because they were followable.
Okay.
So it's a clear message.
And so these guys who were recruiting people for cults, were they open with you about this stuff, or did you kind of like figure it out by talking to them?
I signed a ridiculous non-disclosure agreement with each one of them individually.
The cults have NDAs?
No. The main
individuals.
The main organization did not know I was there.
Oh, I see.
And it was mostly they would go around the mall. They spend time around these shopping mall areas and talk to people. Yeah. And it was all kind of very basic at the beginning. So cults indoctrination is a longer process. It's not like, hey, let me talk to you for 5 minutes. And you're like, yeah, I'll join your cults and we'll worship aliens and stuff together. It's a long process where like the deviation escalation continues to increase over time. And it's the exact same way if you're programming some Manchurian candidate, or if you're a hypnotist and you're seeing a client, you want to get them to deviate from their normal behaviors, right? To fix their behavior.
Right.
So it's not all bad. So we can use a lot of those same techniques to help somebody instead of hurt them. That's what I started discovering over the years. And I've studied like how to access every loophole in the human brain. And the fastest way to do that is through novelty and authority, number one. And there is nothing faster in the human brain that'll give you that kind of access.
Novelty and authority. Like, give me some examples of that.
So let's say you and I are living 10,000 years ago, 15,000 years ago. The average tribe of people was like 150, 120. And let's say your job and my job was to go and collect fish in a bag and then kind of bring it back to the tribe at the end of the day. And every day we went to the same spot. It's a great spot. We walked by this bush, this big ass bush. And one day we're going back and talking about the fish we got. And you hear a stick snap behind that bush that we haven't heard before. So it's an unexpected deviation from your mental script of what's going to happen. Does this make sense so far? So we're walking by the bush, the stick snaps. Now what's generated in that moment is a tremendous amount of focus. Like there could be a threat. It could be a rabbit that we can eat. Right. So a threat or a value is how our brain responds to something new and something unexpected. Is it a threat? Is it valuable, socially or otherwise valuable? So the stick breaks. We're not thinking about our kids. We're not thinking about how many fish are in the bag. We're only thinking about this novel new thing that interrupted my brain's script of what I thought was going to happen.
Okay.
You with me so far?
Yeah.
So in our life, when we see something that's unexpected, something that I guess we're not expecting. So we're driving a car, blue lights in your rearview mirror is tremendous amount of novelty, threat, value, right? So our brain says, this is how I tie my shoes. This is how I go to work. This is how I run the cash register at Starbucks, whatever it is. We develop these apps in our head. And when something interrupts one of those programs, our brain automatically says, this is different. This is not expected. I need all of my focus down on this one thing.
Okay.
And that's how novelty starts to trigger our brain. Makes sense so far?
Yes.
And authority is the second piece.
So what would be an example that someone would use as like novelty to get like novelty and authority? If you want to get someone to follow you, like what would be novelty that you would apply?
It can be any scenario, and I'll tell you.
Okay, you're trying to get someone to join a cult.
Yeah. So the novelty right away is I'm going to approach you and say something or ask you a question that you've never been asked before, and that there's no possible way that your brain could have gotten ready for that scenario. And it could be something ridiculously stupid. It'd be like, hey, did you see these guys fighting outside here last week? Or you're walking up and you say, hey, I'm going to ask you 3 questions, but you only have 12 seconds to answer. No one's ever said something like that.
Okay, so you're just getting them out of their comfort zone. You're getting them into like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, we're breaking a pattern.
Okay.
So we're all running on patterns all the time. The moment a pattern is broken, we have tremendous focus. So focus is the first step to hacking the mammalian brain. Authority is next. And authority is like, if you look at the Milgram experiment, have you heard of this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Have you gone deep on it?
Not really. I mean, but explain it to people so they know what you're talking about.
Jamie, can we bring up a picture of the box? The shocking box from this experiment is just...
Essentially, they told people that they had to keep shocking people, and then they did it to the point where they thought the other person on the other side was actually dead, and they kept shocking.
Yeah. And so
what year was this?
1962 at Yale University. This is a variation of the experiment, but just go to the third one right there. So that's Stanley Milgram standing over that machine right there. So you'll notice on the bottom right, it says danger, severe shock right there.
Yeah.
So you're essentially told the guy's on the other side of a drywall wall. He's in another room, but you can hear him yelling every time you shock. And every time you're asking him these questions and he gets the answer wrong, he's acting like a dumbass. He's obviously in on the experiment.
Right.
But these people think they're shocking this guy. And in real life, man, I had that in airplane mode. So in real life, this guy he's running a script. He's a participant in the experiment. He's in on it. But as the person's getting shocked, you hear him scream, you hear him say, I want to get out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. I have a heart condition. He's banging around. And then at around 300 volts, and it goes up to 450 on this machine, 300 volts, no more sound. He stops answering questions. And these people are sitting there at the machine kind of turning around to this guy in the lab coat that's running this experiment. And the guy in the lab coat saying, well, it's important that you continue. The experiment requires that you continue. And they keep going. They keep delivering electric shocks to this guy that was screaming before and is now silent. He's not even answering these questions on the test anymore.
Did everybody do it?
So before the experiment started, these bunch of psychologists got together and they said, all right, who's going to go all the way through? Who's going to do everything? And they thought 0.4%, something like that. It would have to be a psychopath. It would have to be somebody that was malicious or wanted to hurt people. And after the experiment was conducted, 67% of people went all the way. And so what we're really dealing with here is not an experiment. It's a person being talked into murder in less than an hour. A regular, normal human being talked into murder.
67% of them.
67%. And 250 volts is enough to kill you. Would you agree? If you have the right amps.
I don't know, but I believe you.
Yeah. 100% went to 250.
Jeez.
100%. So, yeah.
So that could kill you. 100% at least attempted murder.
Yeah. And I train sales teams all the time. They're like, oh, we have, it's hard to sell this product or this thing. And I'm like, I show them this thing and like, where's the sales script these guys use at Yale University? There wasn't a script. It's not like, oh, let me get the perfect words on the phone for this telemarketing company.
Right.
There's no script. There's no hypnosis. There's no like NLP stuff going on where I have to say these little magic words. And I kind of view that aspect of persuasion like the guys that are obsessed with sales scripts. It's like Harry Potter. Like there's no magic words that are going to make someone take action. We take action based on the mammalian brain. And what was present there at Yale University,